Hey QuesoDivas, and welcome to my second worst date of 2025. I got up and left this date. This is the only date I have ever gotten up and walked out of. Granted, he followed me, but we'll get there. This guy and I matched on Hinge. This man and I match on Hinge. He recommends a spot. I show up. He's already in there. This guy is tall and hot. And I'm like, let's go. I walk up. He immediately makes sure I have a drink. And I'm like, he's making me laugh. Now, if you remember, I said only 3 men that I went on dates with this year were funny. This guy is unfortunately one of them. He was funny. My drink of choice today is an Alani cherry slush. I've been loving the Alanis, you guys. I just got a variety pack, so I've been trying them out. So this man is unfortunately funny. We're standing waiting for our table, and I immediately get a dirty gin. I'm holding it up. We're chatting. Conversation immediately starts flowing. Like, we have the same sense of humor. We're just bouncing off of each other, and I'm getting butterflies. I am like, he could be the one. He could be the one. Because most of the time on the date, within the first 5 minutes, I'm like, he could not be the one. There's no possible way he could be the one, and I'm trying to convince myself he's the one the entire date because I'm on a date with him, and I don't want this to be a waste of time, but it usually is. And this man, I'm all in. I ask him what his last name is, which that means I like you. If I ask you what your last name is, because I'm marrying for a last name. I want my last name changed, baby. I just think it'd be a fun little rebrand. But if I meet the perfect guy and he doesn't have the perfect last name that's going to pair well with Claire and the baby names I have had picked out, I don't want him. Because I'd be so down for both of us to change our last names, but no guy wants to do that. So we're sipping our drink, we get seated at our table, the conversation continues flowing, we're cracking jokes, and this entire time we're just kind of like saying random like facts, but like facts that aren't facts, you know? Like, for example, he was Italian, and so like we were talking about like the history of Italians, and he would say something, and I'm like, really? And he'd be like, I don't know, like, we're not looking it up. Like, he kept calling it middle school rules, where you don't look anything up on your phone, look if it's a fact or not. And I was like, I'm totally down to unplug. Like, I'm not like itching to like look up these things. So I was like, whatever. And we did it a few times. Like, I said a few things, and it was just kind of like our bit. Like, we weren't using our phones. We were unplugged for the night. We were just like so like in love with each other. So the first red flag was this man went to U Miami. Well, not actually a red flag. I do have a friend that went to U Miami, and she's a darling angel. But this man did go to U Miami, which we've talked about it. The theme of Miami men, Florida men, this vibe was a reoccurring theme this year, and it never worked out for me. So he went to U Miami. It's like a big part of our conversation. I'm just like, oh, you enjoyed the weather? Like palm trees, sunshine. I mean, it does sound lit. It sounds lit. Because he was from somewhere else. Important to note, he was from a family of all boys. There were like 5 of them, and he lived with one of them. And so 5 boys, in the way that he was talking about his mother, that was my first red flag. It was very like what the men say in the house goes, and the mother just follows along, and she's like, I don't know, very like trad wife, I guess. Very trad wife. Like, oh yeah, she's like never had a job. Like, she doesn't work. She wouldn't even know how to work. Like, the way that he's talking about her is just so like dated almost. Like, I'm like, why would you talk about your mother like that? Like, what? And so that was really weird. And it was just kind of giving this like toxic masculinity. Like, it was clear that he had a lot of like men in his life, and a lot of good looking men. Because he said that he was like one of the shortest out of all the brothers, and he's 6'4". Like, his other brothers are taller. Like, he's hot. Like, all this must have been like a dream Love Island. Like, they should do like a dating reality show or something. I was low-key like, I want to see a picture of the other one that you live with. But they're all bad men. They're all bad men. Because what we'll learn is, no, it's not good. This was already a red flag. The way that he was like talking about women, the way that he was talking about his own mother, I was just kind of like, don't love the way that this is happening, but you're funny. You're funny. You are a unicorn right now in the New York City dating scene. Like, a funny man is a unicorn. And so I don't necessarily want to let you go yet until I get more information. So he talks about his time at U Miami, how much he loves it and stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm definitely moving back to Florida one day. And I'm like, oh, and because we've been joking this entire time. And a big reason why I wouldn't move to Florida is because that's like the Republican headquarters of the country. I do think there's some sections that aren't, but overall it's pretty. So I joked to him and I'm like, oh, are you Republican? When he says that he wants to move back to Florida, and he dead ass looks at me as like, yeah, why? I was like, oh, because you have to realize I live in New York City. New York City is a liberal bubble. Many major cities are. I went to University of Michigan. That was also a liberal bubble. So I've been in 2 liberal bubbles that are basically college campuses. I don't come across many MAGA. That's for like Michigan hometown, but like even them, like I've blocked, unfollowed all of them. I don't know. And there's not many. There's some, but not many in my hometown. Probably more than I'd like to think, because a lot of them are closeted. So my immediate follow-up question when you say you're Republican, I'm like, oh, so are you MAGA? Because like that's like, because I feel like there is a little bit of a distinction between Republican and, like, I'm just trying to save this. I'm like, wait, I think he's slipping through my fingers right now. He looks at me and says, what's MAGA? Which that was really confusing. And that almost felt like he was trying to like walk, because I think he saw my face drop. Like I was so smiley, giggly, bubbly, and my face just like dropped when he said Republican, because I was joking. I was laughing. I was like, funny. So he says, what's MAGA? And I'm like make America great again, like Donald Trump's slogan. Like I was like, you voted for Donald Trump, right? Like, let's just get to the brass tacks here. Like, you voted for Donald Trump. So no, I will not give you my final rose. Like, you are not. My man would never. And he was like, well, I had no other choice. The woman that he was against sucked her way to the top. Sucked her way to the top is what he tells me. That is his logic. That is his reasoning. Because I've encountered a lot of MAGAs in my day, and I always love to ask them why they voted that way. I just want to, why'd you vote that way? What's your reasoning? And it is always shaming the fact that he was up against a woman, saying a woman couldn't have done it. She couldn't have done it. I had no other choice. The amount of men that have told me just straight up, I had no other choice. I don't know about you, but there were 2 choices. And any man saying that a woman sucked her way to the top when that man later tonight is going to be begging for me to suck him to the top, every woman with consent has done it. Like literally every married woman, I would hope, has done that. And every man has gotten it done to him. So why is that even, like, your man in office is getting it sucked? He's at the top and he's getting it sucked. Like everyone's doing that. So why are you bringing that into your reasoning? It just didn't make sense to me. So immediately I'm triggered, but you can't reason with crazy. And I know this. I hit the panic button for any MAGA person. I say, but Trump was on Epstein Island. You would have thought that I just annihilated his family. He says, no, that's not real. Pulls out the phone. We weren't pulling out phones and doing facts. He pulls out the phone, starts typing in ChatGPT frantically, being like, and I'm literally just sitting there like this. Because I just said one sentence and he just starts coming at me, talking to me in a way that no man has ever talked to me, especially on a date, just attacking my character, when all I asked, well, I just said he was on Epstein Island. He said she sucked her way to the top. I just said that he was on a tropical vacation. I wasn't threatening him, and I literally just was like, hello, like, this is what I think. He went off. He pulls out ChatGPT, writing it all these things, shows me the phone. He's like, look, chat says that it's not true, so it's not true. Chat says that, so it's not true. Like, you're so stupid. Like, this is a smart businessman. He's built golf courses. He is so smart. He came from nothing. This man is so smart. And it's just like, at that point, like, whatever he was saying, because once again, you can't reason with crazy. And this man, I hit the panic button on. He was going off. He was leaning, like I was leaning away. He was leaning in. He was like, I was like, whoa. Well, I just got the ick. I'm not interested. You are now, like, you've fumbled this situation. greatly. Now you're scaring me. I don't want to be alone with you. He finally stops rambling, maybe after like 40 seconds I'll give him. But this was like the longest 40 seconds of my life that he's like rambling, pulling out chat, showing search results, like, I don't know, doing everything. And I don't say a single word. So he finally stops. And I'm like, this man definitely has punched holes in walls. I like to ask that on a first date. That is a good question to ask on a first date. Have you ever punched a hole in a wall? Because that means they have anger issues, and you will be shocked at how many men nonchalantly say, yeah, my man is not punching holes in walls. My man is communicating his emotions. Thank you. Thank you. And then ask him when the most recent time was. No. So he finally pipes down from his temper tantrum. And I'm just still sitting there. I finished my second martini at this point. I'm downing it because I know I'm about to leave. And he says, this is over, right? And I'm like, yeah, go pay. So he gets up, goes and pays. I put on my jacket. I get up, start to leave. He kind of like walks out with me. And he's like, I'm sorry I got so triggered. Like, I just get really triggered by that topic because that's the reason why my ex and I just broke up. I was dating her for 3 years and we ended over politics. And I'm like, yeah, for a reason. Like, that is even worse than being catfished on looks, is being catfished on MAGA. MAGA to catfish. No. That, I felt so played. We're standing outside the restaurant when he like tells me about his ex and stuff, and I'm just like, bro, the way you talked to me was so unacceptable, and I will never let a man speak to me like that, and you should never speak to another woman like that ever again. And I said, you should also put your politics on your hinge. Because if he just had that, like if he had like conservative on his hinge, I just wouldn't have gone on the date. Like, hello. You guys, there's a part 2 to this story. Surprise, part 2. Because after this date, I walk away. I block his number. I called my mom on the walk home. I'm like crying because of all the adrenaline. I'm just like so frustrated that like a man could speak to a woman like that, and that's the dating pool right now, and yada, yada, yada. Because this guy was also just like weird. He was so weird. And the way that he spoke to me was so weird. And it was just like overwhelming and a lot, and kind of just like it felt a little dangerous. And so like I call her, I walk home, and we were both like, yeah, it's so rare to find a super MAGA guy in New York. Because I mean, I went on 73 dates last year, 74 this year. None of them, it ever came up at least that they were like really pro MAGA, even if they did kind of sway one way more than the other. Like it was never like MAGA level. Never. I'm like, this was a fluke. This was a weird situation, because also he was a funny one. He was a funny, good-looking man that was also MAGA. I was like, no, we were almost there. Like, this will never happen to me again. No way. Now everyone's like, yeah, that's just a bump in the road. Like, you're fine. Last week I went on a first date. And this man, he was funny. I walk in and he's funny. He's attractive. He wants a lake house in Michigan. And if you've been listening to my story times, you know how important my homeland is to me. A man that wants a lake house in Michigan, my man, because a lake house in Michigan is my non-negotiable. I will have a lake house in Michigan. I don't care if I live there full time. I don't really want to live there full time. Lake house, I'm having. And so I'm like, this is perfect. We're aligned. He's funny. He has his own startup. He like employs people. He's my age too. He has good style. He's funny. And right off the bat, like maybe like 20 minutes into the date, he makes like a racial joke. And at the time, I didn't really clock it. I was like, I must be like tripping, like thinking too much into this. Like, yeah. Once again, he's like perfect in every single way. He like this, I'm like, I found him. And he lived alone. He lived in this like new apartment. Like, oh, I was like, I found him. Let's go. Like, yes. I was so excited. And he was asking me questions. He was asking me a lot of questions and getting to know me. And then he asks me, so what are your politics? Which is very bold to ask if you're going to say that you are MAGA. To me, little old me, this man also did say, wait for it, that he just came back from living in Miami for a couple years. What is that Sabrina Carpenter song? I don't find them, they find me. All the boys choosing me, I ain't choosing them. Like these ones. The Miami men choose me, they pick me, choose me, want me, love me. And all of a sudden he just starts rattling off, oh yeah, I'm pro-life, pro-guns, anti-vax, anti-mask. Like just every single thing that you could be. And I start laughing because I've never heard someone just give me their resume of wrongs that they are trying to make it right. You know, it's just like I've never seen that before. And so I just started laughing, thinking that he's joking around because he was a jokester. We're being funny. And he's like, he's like, what? And I'm like, I can't tell if you're joking or not. And he's like, no, I'm not joking. Like, he's like, I'm MAGA. You're MAGA? He told me he came from a family of liberals. His parents are very extreme liberals. His two sisters are liberals. He says that he gets into arguments with his father about things. I'm like, where did they go wrong that you are the conservative one? It's just the way my face falls. I get a pit in my stomach, and I wish our world wasn't like this, okay? These are just my non-negotiables, you guys. This is my personal non-negotiable. You can go any way you want, just like how you can love anyone you want. But this isn't the man for me. I can't spend another day with him. And so my face just falls. I try to move on from it because this man, it's not anything like the first guy. It's not, the way that he says it isn't as bad. He's very like respectful, kind of like a little educational, but then we just kind of like move on from it a little bit. Cause I just like, I can't, because I'm honestly just like in denial. Like he wanted the Michigan Lake house. But weirdly, he did look a little bit like my brother now that I'm like thinking back on it. Like, I don't know, he was just a blondie. So that always like makes me think. Quickly after, like I kind of wrapped up the date. Like we were already like late into the day anyway when this came up. Like it kind of felt like he had nothing else to talk about. And so he just like brought up like the worst topic to talk about. Because I think also like looking at me, you might think I'm like a safe space for your deepest, darkest secret. Because they always say it like it's a secret. And I'm just not. So we leave. He doesn't even offer to walk me home, which I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to hear from him again. Because I feel like I kind of just like let my personality dwindle in the very end of the date. And it just felt like we weren't like aligning on it. Because like politics is a big thing. So I don't think that he would even reach out to me either. He texted me the next morning. So he texts me the next day and this is what he says. Hey, just a heads up. I'm feeling pretty sick today. Hopefully I didn't give you anything. Babe, you gave me the ick. I say, good thing we didn't make out, but we did share drinks. What are your symptoms? Because I do think he got me sick. If you haven't noticed, I've sounded a little recently. And he says, only if, as if like, only if we made out, which I'm like, no. And he says, cold sweats, bad headache, having a blast today. And I said, sounds like you should mask up. And he says, never. And I just feel like that was the perfect way to end our communication for the rest of our lives. Because that was just like, we are different in that aspect. Whew, this was a really icky one. But yeah, I told you guys, this is the second worst date. So it's got to be bad. It's got to be bad. Honestly, this kind of deserves the spot for number one. But number one is just like my favorite story of the year. And coincidentally, he texted me, the guy number one is about, he texted me for the first time since this thing happened yesterday. So it just felt like a sign it needs to be like my top worst date. I'll see you guys tomorrow for number one. Love you, QuesoDivas.